It is very enjoyable. Though I do catch myself thinking a lot of the time, what is it with spider mechs? Because it immediately makes me think of Ghost in the Shell, standalone complex, and their spider mechs. So that did arise a few times. But I mean, it's a good show. Otherwise, I enjoy it.
That brings up a question, Josh.
Yeah,
Alex, how the heck do you watch this series?
Okay, that is hold on. All right, don't target this at me.
You're the one who hates spiders. You gave a chapter a 0 because it had a spider in it.
That was a real spider.
A good chapter.
That was a real spider and a very detailed spider. Thank you. I was not prepared for that. That's different. These are mechs. These
are animated mech spiders.
They don't even really like. Besides the legs, they don't even look like spiders. Okay, it didn't bother me that much. Fuck off.
Now go.
What's going on? Welcome into AniMan Plus. This is episode 32. I'm your host, Alex Light with Sparky3. Hopefully you're having a phenomenal day, whatever day you're listening or watching this podcast. Joining with me, as always, here in the studio, I have Zach. Zach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Can't complain.
Yeah, well, besides you had to go deal with some work bullshit, right?
Yeah, but that's dealt with
It
right
is
here.
It is what it is, right? Yeah, I feel you. We also have Josh over the phone. Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good today.
You had a good day off so far?
Yeah.
Living your best life?
I am living my best life. I wanted to tell you, I was going to text you, and I decided I was going to talk to you anyway, so I'll just tell you then.
Okay.
I tried the Peach Rings G Fuel can, and it's way better than the tub.
You know?
Just wanted you to know that.
I might agree. I'd have to drink them both again. I haven't had the Peach Rings tub in quite some time, and I haven't had the can in quite some time, so I'll have to get back to you on that. But I'm glad you got to try it. You also tried some other ones, didn't you?
Nemesis T, you're right. It was pretty bad. I mean, the tub's better.
Okay, yes. I told you, like, Nemesis T wasn't even like a top 5 flavor to me. It was
when you say Nemesis, you mean like Resident Evil Nemesis?
Yeah. That's the branding. Okay. That's like the crossover for it. All it is just half and half, which is like probably my favorite beverage on the planet. I love half and half so much. The tub is,
it's like blood red.
Yes. The tub is absolutely phenomenal, but the cans were very mediocre, which was very depressing. Well, see, Josh, I could be wrong. I think the cans are mediocre because I don't think it's actually half and half. I think it's just tea. I think I remember them saying that when it came out, but I could be wrong.
I mean, it doesn't even taste like tea, which is a thing.
Right.
I'm gonna stick with Sonic the Hedgehog, Foodie Pie, and Space Berry.
That's fair. All right, guys. So. Hopefully everyone's having a great day. Like I said, we don't have as much to talk about today, especially with all the Weekly Shonen Jump, Weekly Shonen Magazine all being on breaks this week. We do have our webtoons to talk about. We have our normal anime stuff, so no delays or anything there. So I do have some announcements though, some pretty cool announcements. So I've talked about it for a while here on AniMan Plus during the plug segments and everything. My podcast, Lighthearted, gaming movie TV podcast, it is officially set to come back like next week. Tuesday or Wednesday is when it should go up. We are recording it this week in episode 39, so that is really cool. Zach's going to be here alongside me for that. We have a lot to talk about on that show. I'm super pumped. If you're watching the video version, you may see that I changed a couple of disc plates to, represent that. We got some Mass Effect love that's going on next week. We got some Arthur Morgan to represent that. So shout out to that. Drop us a like there. But yeah, those episodes will be uploaded here on the YouTube channel Sparky3 as well. And then as normal, we'll be on the 20 plus platforms we're on for the audio version. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. You can also follow us at Lighthearted Pod, just to kind of stay up to date on when exactly it's going to go live. It should be Tuesday or Wednesday. Really excited for everything that we have going on over at Lighthearted coming back. You can also follow us here at AniMan Plus at AniMan Podcast over on Twitter. And if you want to support us further, the Patreon's a great way to do so. We'd greatly appreciate if you got some spare cash under the couch cushions you want to throw our way. We appreciate that. But if not, hey, whatever. Just listen to the show. We appreciate that so much. Be a friend, tell a friend that you're listening to the show. So for today, we do have the return of a popular series that's coming back. Should be like here in a couple weeks. Should be coming back.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah, it should be coming back here in a couple weeks. Kind of shocked to see it's coming back. I'm going to be honest there. We got some One Piece news on the way as well we're going to be talking about. We have some the first 3-day rankings for the May manga volumes that came out for Weekly Shonen Jump. We should be getting sales numbers here within the next few days as well. So on episode 33, we're going to get to break down some sales numbers for those. But we do have the rankings. And we also have a rant today. But what will the rant be? Will it be perhaps me talking about 7 Deadly Sins? I've done that before. Perhaps it could be, Zach with Dragon Quest. Something may have happened there. Maybe it could even be Josh with One Piece. Who knows? We do have a rant on the way, though. So get ready for that. Get ready for our rant sound effect. With all that said, let's just go ahead and jump into the show now. Let's go through our shout-outs. So the first shout-out that I want to give is Black Clover. We'll be on a break in next week's issue of Weekly Shonen Jump. I know the issue that's about to come out, which is it 24? Is that the issue for the volume? I think it's 24.
I think so.
Think so?
Don't look at me. I don't keep up with numbers.
Okay, well, I think it's 24. I know Jujutsu Kaisen's on a break for this one, and then the week after for what I'm assuming is going to be 25, Black Clover will be on a break. It's actually right here in front of me. I'm an idiot. I see it on the script. Issue 23 is what's about to come out. The issue 23 lineup did come out. The only thing that was, that I feel like are kind of on the more notable side is, first and foremost, I do want to give a shout out to Witch Watch is at 4th in the lineup. I thought that was really interesting that it was ranked so high. It feels like they're really going to perhaps give it a push. 'Cause I know it just got like a color page. Zach is very upset by this. It's such a mediocre series. I don't get it.
I mean, it is, at least for us. I mean, we may be the minority. There may be people who really love this series, and
that's true.
And
yeah, it kind of seems like one of those things that it's reaching out to a different demographic than what Jump usually does.
True.
So it's more of like a romantic comedy instead of like a shonen action. So maybe that's why we feel differently about it.
Dude, now hold up. I'm not messed up about it against some shonen romance. The writing is very lackluster.
Yes, the writing is very...
I cannot connect with any of the characters so far.
Which sucks because, honestly, Chapter 1, I stand by my statement. I thought Chapter 1 was pretty decent. I thought Chapter 1 showed a lot of potential for it, but the writing since has gone very downhill. On the opposite side of things, what is actually set up to be last in the lineup for issue 23 is Ball Parade. We've been hearing some rumors that Ball Parade is damn near dead. It getting its first time being dead last in the slot, kind of worrisome. We'll see. It's just when it comes to Ball Parade, as Zach has said multiple times talking about it, this is a series that does not already have a team set up. The team has got to be built. And I feel like that slow pace is probably what's really turned a lot of people off for it. It's just how slow it's been to build up the team.
Yeah, no, I'm the one who says so. I'm in agreement because usually when we see sports manga of any type, usually those get quite a bit of traction usually.
Right.
Even the ones that don't ever survive, but this one's getting pretty much nothing. I think that's like the main element that's really hurting it right now.
That's fair. Just a reminder, issue 23 will have Elusive Samurai on the cover, which again is the quickest time that a manga has gotten the cover since Toriko back in like 2007 or 9. I don't remember which one, where Toriko got it in 12 chapters. And sorry. And Elusive Samurai Volume 1 actually has not even come out yet. I think it's set to come out in July.
Dang.
I think so. We have not actually gotten any confirmation that it's set to come out in July. That's just what I think. And I partially believe that the reason why it's taken so long for Volume 1 to come out is because, like we've said multiple times talking about the series, it's had a very slow start, but it's steadily just kind of getting better. So they've been letting it build up, letting people kind of get behind it, give it the cover, etc.
And which has actually been working out for it because, as I've probably stated in a previous episode, the time period they chose for the manga itself is not a normal one for most people who read manga, unless they're natives of Japan, I would guess. So it is very much a setting of a lot of people, at least overseas, and maybe in Japan as well, don't have immediate knowledge of the setting. So,
yeah. A lot of people are honestly predicting that that's going to be like the 2021 pop-off. Like, it's going to be Elusive Samurai. A lot of people are predicting that.
I could see it based on how the last couple chapters have been going. I could definitely see it.
Yeah. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Talking more about some Shonen Jump stuff here. The editor-in-chief recently had an interview, and according to him, he says One Piece is still about 4 or 5 years left of the story, which pushes the original time frame from 24 to 25 to at least 27. You know, Josh is a big One Piece fan there. What's your take on that? Are you not surprised, or is it just kind of like, whatever?
I mean, I'm not surprised in the slightest, because it was originally only supposed to last like 5 years, and here we are 20-something years later. So,
yeah.
And the last couple of times that Oda was like, it's going to, end soon. I hope you guys are ready. It hasn't ended soon and keeps going on. So, I mean, I'm literally not surprised at all. I mean, it could go on for another 20 years.
Watch,
I'm fully expecting it to.
Watch,
it's going to outlive us all.
Yeah. And, the one thing that's kind of interesting to note on this is the fact that, like, once Wano is ended, which is, obviously where we are now, it's supposed to enter, like, what's going to be its final arc, isn't it? Or am I mistaken on that?
Well, from what I understand, the current, like, overarching arc that we're in right now is the Four Emperors arc.
Right.
Which included, Dressrosa, Whole Cake, or maybe just Whole Cake and Wano. So, I mean, we're kind of entering the final stages already, because out of the Four Emperors, we've already had a fight with 2, and we're having a fight with 2 right now still. So we've only got 2 left, and I'm pretty sure we're not going to fight one of them. So, I mean, there can't be a whole lot left to cover.
Fair. Yeah, watch. It's going to come like, closer to 2027, we're going to get another interview with the editor-in-chief. He's like, oh, no, it's got 5 more years, guys. Sorry. It's 5 more. I swear.
He's just going to come out in the interview dressed like Shiki. He's just like, yeah, about that. Not Shiki. Shanks.
Shanks, okay.
Yeah, wrong series.
Yeah, wrong series.
Yeah. I mean, technically, it could be the right series. There is a Shiki in One Piece.
That is true. And and the Shiki in One Piece has gravity powers, right? Josh, I think you're the one that pointed that out to me.
Does he really?
Swords for legs as well. Yeah. He has gravity powers and swords for legs. He's the villain of the movie Strong World.
Oh, you're right. That is Shiki, isn't it? Yeah, the Golden Lion. Yeah, I forgot about that.
See, I didn't even know that until Josh pointed out to me when I started talking about Eden Zero originally. So
yeah. I mean, my call is I'm going to be in my 70s, and Oda's brain's going to be, like, in an interview, and it's like, yeah, we're going on for another 10 years. Hopefully we'll end soon. And, be on my deathbed. My epitaph will say, never finished One Piece.
Hey, you gave it your best shot, though. You gave it your best shot. Hey, as long as it's still selling, who knows? It may never end. We'll see.
That's true. It's been in the top forever.
Yeah. Still talking about One Piece here. So the past couple months, they've been doing the worldwide popularity poll, and we've now gotten the full list. I don't. What was the max number, Josh? I don't remember.
It was 100. 200. It was top 200. Yeah.
I got you.
God.
Yeah, I kind of skimmed through a majority of it, but obviously the main things everyone's looking like usually like probably like the top 25 is give or take what most people give a shit about. But we do have the top 10 here. So coming in 10th, we had Sabo, 9th Ace, 8th Carrot, 7th Boa, 6th Nico Robin, 5th Law, 4th Sanji, 3rd Nami, 2nd Zoro, and of course 1 Luffy. A couple things that I thought was a little interesting is number 1, I know the last time we had a popularity poll, I know Sanji was at 3rd, and Nami was at 4th, so a little swap there. I know a couple other things is I know the Going Merry I think dropped down a little bit from last time. 'Cause I think the last time it was at like 27th, and now it's like 32, but it's still higher than Buggy.
Yeah, it's actually like 2 higher than Buggy, which is really funny because Buggy's like a fan favorite character, and the Going Merry beat it. It's also interesting to note that the other ship, the Thousand Sunny, was like somewhere in the 40s or 50s. So that's the thing. I was going to say like the big surprise here was Carrot, because Carrot didn't even break top 10 in Japan. But worldwide, she made it to top 8, being a new character, which is kind of wild. The other one was Yamamoto being 11th, being a character that just literally just got introduced. So Yamamoto getting 11th was kind of like a big upset. I was really sad that Katakuri was like, I think 14th.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also weird, not weird, but just kind of surprising that Chopper, being another fan favorite, was in the top 20 instead of the top 10, as well as Usopp. So just some kind of wild things from the worldwide top popularity poll, as opposed to like the normal just Japan only popularity polls. A lot of characters got ranked a lot higher than they normally would have been.
My question,
Also,
Josh, is where was Panda Man?
Panda Man was somewhere in the 40s, I believe.
Yes, he's still in there.
I'm surprised Josh knew that off the top of his head, if we're going to be completely honest.
I mean, Panda Man's been there since the beginning. How
Panda Man has been there from the beginning.
Panda Man was. I'm not even going to lie. So back in the day, in like the WWE games, you could create your own custom wrestler, and it would always be Panda Man. I thought it was the best thing ever.
You know what I'm real sad about, Josh? We never got, because there was a couple actual one-piece fighting games where Panda Man was an actual character.
Yeah.
With just the most ridiculous stories. So I can only hope that Panda Man continues his rise and is the true evil villain at the last island.
Mm-hmm.
Guarding One Piece.
I really hope. There's like a theory actually out there in the world.
Oh, here we go.
Panda Man is actually Joy Boy.
Oh, no.
And yeah. And so that's why he's like been in it the entire time, because he's like, Panda Man's actually Joy Boy, and he's just watching the story unfold. Like, it's kind of wild, but I kind of believe it just because. I would also like to point out that, like, you could vote for literally any character in this popularity poll.
True.
So there are some wild characters getting a lot of votes, like the Kung Fu Dugong from Alabasta got a lot of votes. I don't know if you guys know who Whoop Slap is, but he's the mayor from the village that Luffy's from.
That's his name. When you said that, I actually thought, did the mayor from Luffy's village get it? Because he's a recognizable character. I just never knew his name.
His name's Whoop Slap, and that's the only reason I looked him up, because that name's hilarious.
That is amazing.
And he got pretty high in there too. I want to go back and find like the actual rankings for everybody. If I do, I'll tweet it out on Twitter. But it's really good. There's a lot of characters that were like, why are they so high?
Josh, one question I have for you, because, when it comes to getting out of the Wayno arc, one thing that everyone's wondering is, who is the next Straw Hat? Who's the next Straw Hat? It's narrowed down to X amount of characters that people think it's going to be. Obviously Yamamoto is going to be one, but what do you think about the possibility of Carrot? Do you think Carrot getting as high as 8th worldwide popularity, do you think that kind of really sets up for Carrot to be the next Straw Hat, or do you still think it's going to be like possibly like Yamamoto or someone else?
I'm going to throw out an unpopular opinion here, because there's a lot of love for Carrot out there. I don't really care for Carrot. I hope Carrot never becomes a Straw Hat. My actual theory, though,
Jesus. I have a friend that's going to be very upset with you for that comment.
I mean, let him be upset.
If you want to fight him, you can add him on Twitter at Lockin.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. At me, and we can civilly discuss why I don't
We're
like
going to
Carrot.
fight about this.
Civilly, he says.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Carrot's all right. I don't see her becoming a Straw Hat, though, simply because there's this, there's always been this, like, 10 person max to the Straw Hat crew that's kind of been, like, a thing forever, and everyone kind of fits something that Luffy has said in, like, one of the very first chapters, because, like, he wanted a musician and stuff like that, so we got Brooke. He wanted to cook, so we got Sanji. So I feel like if the Straw Hat crew grows any, it's going to be, like, something wild and out there.
See, because I haven't caught up, but I remember that whole 10 crew thing, so I was thinking, like, if they join his crew, you think they would join part of his armada, his unspoken armada?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, is because he's got a lot of people that are technically under him that aren't part of his crew, like Bartolomeo and Cavendish and
the Giants.
The Giants and I believe they're called Sotatas. The little bug fairies from Dressrosa have a crew and that are under him as well. So my theory is that like Carrot's gonna become like the captain of the mink pirates or whatever, since Pedro is gone, and Cat Viper and Dogstorm are kind of they're not looking like they're gonna do too well after this arc. So I can totally see her joining that. My thing of Yamamoto is it's very highly possible, in my opinion, that they join, but I'm not entirely sure, because they could also stay in Wano with I forgot his name.
The little kid.
Odin's son.
Yeah,
Momosuke.
Yeah, that's what I personally think is going to happen. Is I think Yamamoto is going to stay in Wano. That's my opinion.
Which again is another very valid theory, because technically Vivi is aligned with the Straw Hats, and she's the Princess of Alabasta.
True.
So it could turn out that Momosuke and Yamamoto are aligned with the Straw Hats and still be in Wano, kind of like how Poseidon, his name's not Poseidon, I forgot his name. The king of the Fishman
Neptune.
Islands. Neptune. His daughter is Otohime. No, Otohime's his wife. Anyway, his daughter.
Can't remember the fish people because he didn't like that arc. Everybody.
Yeah, that arc. Well, I mean, that arc sucks.
No one likes that arc. I do know that his daughter is Poseidon, the ancient weapon. But anyway, they're kind of aligned with the Straw Hats. So, I mean, it's not out of the question that they technically join, just not in like an official Straw Hat capacity. Because, I mean, really, we haven't even got to enjoy Jinbei being an official member of the Straw Hats. So, you know, automatically get a new one now.
That's true. That's a very fair point. I didn't even think about that. That's very true. We haven't got to celebrate him coming in. So.
Yeah. Remember when he joined?
Yeah.
And then didn't?
Yeah. Yeah, he's officially joined now. So we're going to get a celebration for that sometime soon. As
of the end of Whole Cake, he is officially a member. And since he's made his return, spoiler alert, I guess, in Wano, he's, the official helmsman of the Straw Hat crew.
Yep. So shout out to that. Going over from there, let's talk about some May volume rankings for the first 3 days. So this month we had Mashal Volume 6, Undead Unluck Volume 6, Yozakura Family Volume 8, Phantom Seer Volume 3, and ITLC Volume 1. So let's start out with Mashal Volume 1. Started off at number 1, shout out to that, dropped down to 3, and then climbed back to 1. It's pretty dope. I like to see that.
I mean, yeah, that's the best one so far.
Yeah.
When's that get an anime again?
Right. Undead Unluck Volume 6 started off at 9, dropped down to 29, and then 40. So it's still hanging on pretty strong. That's what you want to see with these sort of like middle of the pack Shonen Jump series. Same thing with Yozakura Family Volume 8 started off at 20, went down to 46 and 52. This next one breaks my heart to talk about because it did really well. Was Phantom Seer Volume 3, which is now dead, unjustly dead. Started off as 40, not bad, dropped down to 84, and then actually happened to climb back up to 68. That's actually really impressive for a series that got axed already. I'm very salty about that, but we've speculated enough on that. But anyway, ITLC, a newer series, Weekly Shonen Jump, a series that Josh and I are pretty big fans of because it's got very unique writing. It did not do well. We might as well consider it. Hang on. Before I say let's consider it dead, I do want to point something out. High School Family, we thought was going to be dead because I know like its Volume 1 did, I think, worse than this. Like I think it got down to like the 300s for its ranked, and I know it's still ongoing and it's actually getting a color page. I think next week.
RIP.
Yeah, but anyway,
I mean they could be providing live support because they've cut a lot of stuff here recently, like Bill King and Phantom Seer. So maybe they're not too keen on dropping anything too soon until they get something else that they feel like might fit in.
Yeah, true.
Basically how Bill King was on live support, or a Gravity Boys. That's the best example. It was on live support for like a year before they finally dropped it.
It was on live support for a while. But anyway, the ITLC Volume 1 rankings started off at 179, not good, and then it dropped from there, 262 and then 290 in the rankings. So we'll see if it ends up getting axed. The thing about Shonen Jump, most of the time, I would say 8 or 9 times out of 10, when they axe stuff and they go to bring stuff in, they're never bringing in just one. It's usually a batch. So,
we just had with Candy Flurry and Blue Box. Yeah,
exactly. So if they're going to axe ITLC sometime in the near future, it's not just going to be for one. Something else is going to get axed alongside of it to bring in at least a couple series. It's very rare for them just to axe one and bring one. It's always axe a couple, bring a couple, or at the very least. And ITLC is one that I see potentially being axed. Probably Ball Parade potentially. High School Families a potential, even though it's getting a color page. But I don't know. Its sales don't support it being in the magazine, so I don't know what to make of that.
I mean, if we can kind of jump back to last year, because it's stuff we talked about on the original, now defunct AniMan. Because last year around this time they brought in Bone Collection, Time Paradox Ghost Rider, Mori King, and I believe Mashal. I mean, most of those are gone. Some of them lasted a while, like Mori King, for whatever reason. So I mean, it's kind of one of those things where some of these are kind of new, so they give them that old 6-month try.
Right.
and about then seems like the time that maybe we'll start getting more.
Yeah. The other series you were thinking of was Magi-chan, God of Destruction, which is also getting a color page.
That's
next
still
week.
ongoing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's getting a color page next week. Next week, our color pages are High School Family and Magi-chan, and then a one-shot that, obviously we don't get to read. But yeah, that's the color pages next week. Wild. What a wild time of Shonen Jump that we're in, where that's your color pages for an issue.
Well, I mean, we can use that as a segue here in a little bit to talk about some other trash with Shonen Jump and the love they give and don't give.
That's true.
Wanted.
That's true. Before we hop over to that, the last thing I have for a shout out, and it's also, I also want to propose a question here to Zach. So the big series coming back here in a couple weeks, which I'm surprised to see it coming back, honestly, is Tower of God. The webtoon is set to come back on May 17th after like a year-long hiatus. Mm-hmm. So when this show went on hiatus, it was because the creator just wasn't happy. He wasn't happy working on it. He just was really burnt out. And just needed time off in general. And, hearing that sort of stuff, I thought we were about to get like a Hunter x Hunter situation. I didn't think it was going to come back anytime soon, personally. So my question for Zach is, you have like read up to the recent chapter, correct? That was one of your ongoing ones that you were reading. Okay. So with where the story is now, with it coming back, do you see a possibility that it's going to try to get wrapped up quickly, just so he can, be done with it and move on with his life? Since he was so unhappy working on it, do you see that as a possibility or no? Because obviously I don't know where it is in the story.
I mean, is that a possibility? Yes. Could he prolong it a little longer just to make sure it flows properly and then end it? Yes. I mean, I could speculate. I honestly could not give you a good guess, because there's been times with that series where the choices the writer made on how he wanted to progress made no sense to me, but worked out great. For instance, one of the ones that always got me was back in season 2, how he started season 2, which really messed with people, but turned out fine. Ended up getting a good cast of new characters in it, which led into the monstrosities that they became. So, I mean, is that a possibility? Yes. It could also be a possibility that he continues with the original plan to finish it out how he wanted to, and then move on to something more that during this hiatus they've found some sort of motivation or inspiration to take it in a different direction, or finally finish it up, the series as a whole, and just move on to a new series. I mean, all I can do is speculate and guess. I honestly have no good read on where it could go. So, yeah.
Okay.
I would just like to throw out something like, this is kind of very reminiscent of like the Hunter situation. Mainly because he got really burnt out on Yu Yu Hakusho and wrapped that up really fast. Because I know a lot of people have problems with how Yu Yu Hakusho ended, but he wrapped it up to do Hunter x Hunter. And he could totally at any point have finished Hunter x Hunter. There's been multiple places where if it ended there, it would have been totally fine. And even in this like almost 10-year hiatus it's been on, he's never attempted to actually wrap it up. And I assume they're still working on it. So, I mean, anything's possible when it comes to this.
You think think every morning he gets up, grabs a cup of tea and miso, and he's just at the table and then looks over at his writing desk and is like, maybe today's the day.
And then it doesn't ever become the day.
Yeah. His wife just walks in and is like, is today the day? And he's like, still wondering that myself.
Like, I haven't decided yet. We'll see. One day.
He's just like, did you decide? He's like, I'll decide tomorrow.
Tomorrow comes. Is today the day? I'll decide tomorrow. That's what you've been saying for like years, man. No, it'll finish one day. It won't be a good ending though, but it will finish one day potentially. It'll at least finish in the way of where they'll finally just come out and say, "Okay, it's over. Like, don't expect it anymore. Yeah. It's no longer considered."
That's exactly how it's going to end.
Yeah, that's just how it's going to probably end. It's like, hey, sorry, it's done.
It's still hilarious that it's still technically part of Jump's current roster.
Yeah,
they haven't dropped it yet.
Yep.
They're still holding out hope. They're just like sitting in the office room. I hope today's the day.
Is today the day? Is this it?
There's some people who have read the Shonen Jump magazine and have no idea what Hunter x Hunter is.
Yeah.
because it hasn't been there in so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
Oh man. Anyway, while we're still talking about Shonen Jump, let's hop over and talk about something that Josh already kind of referenced here, in terms of Shonen Jump giving love to certain series. So with this upcoming Jump issue, Dr. Stone will have had 4 Jump cover pages in 2021, tied with One Piece also having 4. But meanwhile, like let's say JJK, for example, it, being like the top selling Jump manga currently on this roster, has had none. And, now we have Elusive Samurai getting 1. Here, this, and for the record, this is also obviously taking out new series. We're not counting those because obviously new series are always going to get the cover. So take those out of the equation. We're talking about just current like veterans on the roster. JJK's gotten none. Black Clover hasn't gotten one. Even My Hero hasn't gotten one. So I don't know. We've talked about this before, where it just feels like Shonen Jump and the editor in chief, like they've really just been kind of playing it safe, almost coming into this year, giving it to pretty much only Dr. Stone and One Piece consistently. I don't know. Do you guys have any takes on this?
It's just really weird that they're playing it safe, and they have Jujutsu Kaisen, which is the #1 selling thing that they have right now, sitting on the sidelines, like waiting to get some kind of love in like a cover page or something, and they're just like, how about Dr. Stone again? I'm like, oh, we've had 3 so far. One more couldn't hurt.
Well, to be fair, Dr. Stone has been incredible recently.
Dr. Stone and One Piece have both been incredible recently, but at the same time, there are other series, and it just it almost, it's starting to feel like a Phantom Seer situation where Phantom Seer got 0 love, despite how well it was doing.
Rip.
And yeah, rip. So it's just like, it doesn't seem that, I don't know, they're giving any love to Jujutsu Kaisen, which, had a great anime. They have a movie coming up. It's weird that we haven't got confirmation on season 2, but they did the same thing with Demon Slayer, so who knows. But yeah, they could just spread the love out a little bit. I mean, it's not a huge news to be like, oh, they haven't gotten one, but it's weird.
I mean, I don't know how they choose, because I know nothing of how that.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
But I mean, the only way I can see it is really that, because you say those 2 have gotten so many color pages, and when we look at what you said, Alex, is just what's been going on in those series have been really big moments and hype and whatnot, and like JJK hasn't really had anything since the closure of the Shibuya incident. So I mean, there hasn't really been anything big to really hype people to go. They probably look at a cover page and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna read that and so I'm excited, and they get what we've gotten, and it's sort of just like, oh okay, exposition and carrying on and planning.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, there may
be. In all fairness,
go on.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, in all fairness, like, I enjoy it. I'm enjoying what's going on. Like all the exposition and setup for what's coming up, because I feel like it's going to make it better, kind of like how One Piece did with Wano, or like My Hero's doing right now.
I mean, yeah, and I agree. It's not bad content. It's just not like big, overarching conclusion or climactic battles that's going on in other series really right now. I mean, as a whole, at least the stuff we read, there's only a handful of series that has some sort of big moment happening right now. Most other series are in some of a transition between arcs or building up to from ending of one to the hype of the next. So.
Yeah, and obviously we're just going to safely assume that it's just based on the content that's going into the chapter for that issue. So that's one reason why we can very easily deduct Dr. Stone and One Piece being the only ones. But even though that is the case, and while I agree those are like better, more hype content with what's happening, if we still want to talk like hype content that could be on the cover, let's talk about Black Clover. Black Clover has been pretty much non-stop recently, and then even a lower, like middle of the pack veteran that has been very hype recently is Yozakura Family, just to give you an example, because that one is also in a very big moment in the arc with what's happening. So just to give you a couple of examples of like they're playing it safe, yes, with their two of the most notables, but they could have also done Black Clover. They could have even done Yozakura. Hell, they could have even done Mashal. I mean, let's be real, Mashal's got some pretty good stuff going on right now. So I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah, and I guess my thing more or less is like, if you're looking at it as like content within the magazine, obviously One Piece and Dr. Stone have had more hype stuff. But if you're looking at it like, what's going on in the real world, you want people to purchase your magazine.
Yep.
Jujutsu Kaisen is one of the biggest series. Obviously, you slap that on the cover, people are going to buy it because like Jujutsu Kaisen or like My Hero Academia, season 5 coming out, you've got My Hero on the cover. People are going to buy it because My Hero hype. And that's kind of where I'm at is, you know, yeah, if you're going off content within the magazine, yeah, but if you're, you know, trying to bring in sales based on like how your series are doing in the outside world, you would kind of want to put some of those on the cover just because of how hype they actually are right now. Like not within the magazine.
I agree with you,
that
Josh.
Makes sense.
That does make sense. Mm-hmm. But again, we don't know how it goes. And from at least from an outsider's view, how we've seen things, Shonen Jump obviously doesn't care about
that's true.
They just do whatever they want.
The company and just do whatever they want.
They're basically like Nintendo. They just do whatever they want. They don't care other people's opinions at any time.
So I mean,
I don't know though.
Your argument is solid, Josh. It's just from things we've seen them do.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah. So I will say though, this is something I never noticed before the Demon Slayer movie. They're slapping Shueisha on stuff now. I've never noticed it before on anything else I've ever watched Jump-wise, like My Hero or One Piece. Have you guys noticed any of that? Like how they're slapping, like even JoJo Part 6, the trailer, they slapped Shueisha on the front.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Which is kind of weird. I don't know. If they don't care, like they sure are slapping their name up on stuff like, hey, this is from us.
That's fair. Yeah, I have started to notice that being more of a reoccurring thing here recently. And it's probably going to continue to go like that going forward. Speaking of Demon Slayer movie, our last little bit of news here is that I don't know if it is like literally at the moment of this recording. I know when we put on the script it was, so we're just gonna say it's one of the top in the U.S. right now. But it's made $34 million, so shout out to that. When we put it on the script, it was at the time currently the number one movie in the U.S., which also reminder there. Limited theater release, so that's even cooler. I don't know what it's ranked now. I have no idea at the time of this recording, but we'll just say it's one of the top. We'll just say that. I feel like that's a safe thing to say.
They rank it by weekend sales.
Right.
So as of Sunday or Monday, I guess, on that weekend sales. So we'll find out Monday how it ranks now.
Yeah, shout out to Demon Slayer, man. It's just absolutely done phenomenal. Because of Demon Slayer and the success it has, that actually helps set up our new weekly poll that's currently up over at AniMan Podcast, which is, with how successful it's been, do you think that's going to set the new standard for like anime films of like big series to adapt arcs in the future? So you can go vote on that. We'd appreciate that. All right, so let's hop over to our anime talks of the week, and then we're pretty much almost done with the show then. We only have like 5 or 6 series to rate for chapters, just our webtoons and Spy Family. I think that's it because everything else is on a break. So let's kick things off with My Hero Academia Season 5, Episode 6. How are you guys feeling about it?
Shrooms everywhere. I can't get enough shrooms.
Even in your lungs.
Yeah, even in your lungs. That's true. Just shrooms all over the place. I mean, it was okay. I mean, that's all I can say about it. The training arc's just it's okay. It's gonna get good once we get to obviously our pro tag. Other than that, it's just okay. It
was a good episode. Out of all the fights, this is probably one of the most. Actually, I think it's one of the most even matched.
Yeah, it is.
Because I think, from my memory, most of the others end up being pretty lopsided.
Yeah.
And just gets to show off Creation Girl. I can't remember her name at the moment.
Momo.
Momo.
Is it Momo? Okay, I wanted to say it, but I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, right. And then her hero name's like what? Creati, I think is what it is. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this was had a nice moment for her in this episode, kind of showcasing her like intelligence level and preparation level and just stuff along those lines. But I mean, it was an entertaining episode for sure. But it's still just like the training arc is just kind of boring.
Yeah. Like you said, it's boring up until we get to our pro tag. Then it gets more interesting.
Yes, Bakugo.
Yeah. Yes.
The true hero we need.
the true protagonist of My Hero Academia.
Yeah. God Explosion Murder, whatever his original pitch name was.
Yeah. It'll pick up a little later on, and if we think this series is going where it's going to go, it'll pick up a little more. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, they're taking about 1.5 episodes for each fight, give or take.
Yeah.
So about each episode's each fight's within 2 episodes runtime.
Mm-hmm. For this My Hero episode, man, that manga hero, like what, it's such an interesting quirk.
My question is, what kind of species is he to end up like that?
Right? Because that was my thing. Because like I was curious and I went and looked him up after the episode, and like even like his school outfit, like that's what his face looks like.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is wrong with you? What happened to
How he
you?
was born. Did you catch the reference where they were like talking about his powers and like, how do you think it would work overseas?
I did not know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
There was a moment where he's using all the effects, the Japanese sound effects, and of course, outside of Japan, they're not the same.
Right.
And these two teammates were just like, how do you think his power would work overseas?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
one thing that I do want to give a shout out to this episode that absolutely killed me was, there was two different bits in the episode where the Class B teacher was like doing his commentary, but it's obviously it's very biased, and you would see the Class 1A students come behind him. It's like, stop doing that. I loved that moment where you could very clearly hear Todoroki's very nonchalant stop over everyone else's, where it had no emotion behind it. Stop.
It was much higher over everyone else's, which was funny.
Oh, I absolutely love that. Josh, I'm sorry I cut you off. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, you're good. I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh.
I was just saying how I like that moment just because it was like really funny.
Also, in terms of that manga characters, have you guys noticed that his outfit looks like an ink bottle? I thought that was cool. I thought that was a nice little touch. That was cool. But I mean, it was an alright episode though. I'm looking, I'd say probably about like episode 9 is when we're probably going to start to really get some of the good stuff that we're waiting for.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's a pretty fair guess. Hopping over from there, we have One Piece 972. Josh, I did not watch this episode with you, but I did see some clips involving Odin and Kaido, and dude, it looked phenomenal. What did you think of the episode?
Keeping up with the fight scenes and like the fight scenes so far in One Piece being like almost movie quality, it was just so good to watch.
It was.
It was so pleasing. Like, the animation was so like smooth and stuff. And I actually didn't know until someone like retweeted this dude. One of the animators that worked on this episode is from America, which is kind of crazy. Didn't know that, but he had posted some like, in process or, in production scenes from it. And it's so clean. It's so nice. The fight scene was so good. And that was pretty much the bulk of the episode. It kind of ended with the Odin and the 9 scabbards going to get boiled alive in oil. So that's where the next episode's gonna start off.
It's gonna be brutal.
If there's any reason to watch this episode, it's because of the fight scenes. They were so well done. It was so nice.
Yeah, for the one that I saw with Kaido and Odin looked incredible. Where I was watching this episode, I'm like, was this really an episode? Like, this wasn't a movie? Like, oh my God, it looks so good.
Yeah.
So, and just seeing that and just seeing like some of the other clips that I've just come across, like, like Roger and like Whitebeard and stuff, man, it just gets me more and more hyped for what's to come with Kaido, in present time. I'm getting really pumped up for that, where I'm just gonna jump into the anime completely. I'm ready for that fight to go down.
And I think it's only like 2, 3, maybe 4 episodes away where we're actually going to start entering where we are currently in the manga. And oh my gosh, it's going to be a wild ride every week. I can feel it.
One thing that I'm probably going to pick up here soon and add to the lineup. I don't know if
Dragon Quest?
No.
That ship has sailed. It's obviously I'm a spider, so what?
No, and when I say I'm gonna pick it up, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be on the lineup for the show every single week. But these next few episodes are gonna come out, I do want to watch, and that is actually Boruto. Boruto has been in manga content here recently. I haven't stopped to pick it up, but with where the last episode ended, we are about to get Naruto versus Delta, and I am pretty pumped to see that animated. So I'll probably pick that up and talk about it. Speaking of Dragon Quest, how was episode 30?
I mean, this is the first one in a while that hasn't made me question the writing. But it was trope heavy. It was really trope heavy.
So the norm?
Yes. So the ending of the previous episode ended with Barham transforming into the ultimate form of a Dragonite, making him a Dragonoid, which is the body which has all the best parts of humans, demon, or fiends, and dragons. Now I want to pose picturing of this to you, Alex. So you remember in Mario Party games. There was in some you could get an item that turned your character into Bowser's body so you could crush people.
Yeah.
That's what they did with Barum. They gave him a dragon. They gave him a dragon body, put fiend wings on it, and just stuck his human head on it.
That's so stupid.
They didn't alter the head at all to even make it fit. It's just poop. What the
That's so stupid.
I didn't notice it in the previous episode because it was just like an ending shot. But this one, it does a nice little close up, and I'm just like, what have you done?
That's hilarious.
That's amazing, though.
I mean, yeah, so it's that. Then, okay, so they set up Barum to be the ultimate being.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's got him surrounded. They tell Pop to run away to go keep Dai from coming out. Barum just laser fingers Pop in the back. He's on the ground. Then he starts fighting in the episode at 4 minutes 5 seconds. He has everyone on the ground at 4 minutes 30 seconds.
Okay.
That's all the fighting you get this entire episode.
Lovely.
Also, Crocodine's dead again.
No.
I say that because he's been once again stabbed through the chest with an entire arm, but he spends the entire episode laying on the ground yelling, "No, stop! Don't do it! You can't fight him! It's impossible!" Along with everyone else. It was super trope heavy because literally...
Yeah, it sounds like it.
He smacks everyone on the ground and then they're just stuck there. They don't move. They can barely lift themselves up. And they're just shouting at Pop, "Don't do it. You can't fight him."
Well, Pop's a bitch, so...
Well, this episode was called Pop's Resolve.
That already sounds like a bad setup.
Well, okay, I want to credit something here to Pop. So it turns out his character was supposed to be just a giant piece of shit,
Okay.
but he's apparently a very good mage from watching the series because he can apparently learn people's magic attacks by watching it once or twice. So that just sort of gets scrubbed over because he uses a magic attack he saw once to fight Barum, which is pretty much just a suicide bomber attack. Mm-hmm. Which it's literally just suicide. It's shown up twice in the series, and both times it's failed. It is the equivalent of a spirit bomb.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. Yeah, Spirit Bomb has a very low success rate.
And then during the episode, Dai comes out of the castle and is just like, "Daddy, son." Stare at each other while Pop sacrifices himself. Dai suddenly gains his memories back and realizes, "Oh no, my memories have been erased. Pop, no, don't die." And then it goes a whole thing of setting up a fight between Barum and Dai now they just recovered his memories.
So just very trope heavy.
Very
clearly,
trope heavy.
I love the Mario Party reference you gave. That's the best way to put it. I love that.
That was the only way I could describe it. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Bowser?"
That's absolutely incredible. Okay, what about Tokyo Revengers episode 4? So Josh has watched all of Tokyo Revengers now, so he's now in on the Tokyo Revengers hype. So how are you guys feeling about episode 4?
I mean, I'm feeling it. I mean, it's just building up. And
yeah, it is.
I can't wait till 8.6 or 8.5, not 8.6, 8.5.
The episode was really good, and I was surprised because it ended, and I was like, "Wait, it's only been like 5 minutes." It only felt like 5 minutes because it was so good. Like, that's how I feel about Tokyo Revengers. All right, I haven't talked about Tokyo Revengers yet because I just watched it all. I love this series. It's probably the number one of the season so far, or this like the spring season. And every episode ends, and I want more because I just enjoy it so much. It feels like it goes by so fast. And even though not a lot happened in this episode, I mean, a lot did happen, but not as far as like how the other episodes have. I just felt myself wanting more. Like it's so good. Zach, I can totally see how you watched one episode and then read 22 volumes.
Yeah, no. I mean, how'd you feel about the fireworks on the roof?
It was kind of funny. But just that moment of like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hold her hand for the first time. And he just looks down at the kid's hand.
Hey.
It's like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
And he's just like, he has that immediate like thought. It's just like, yeah, the handshake's the trigger. And he's like, "Oh, shit."
No. He's like, no, not now.
Yeah, Tokyo Revengers, man, it is phenomenal. And I people need to go check it out. You know, I know with it being like Weekly Shonen magazine and stuff, you know, it doesn't have as much like, you know, it doesn't have as much hype as like some other series. You know, when it comes to like Weekly Shonen magazine stuff, like there's only been those few that's really gotten a lot of hype in the past. Seven Deadly, Fairy Tail, Fire Force, you know, Soul Eater once upon a time, just to give you examples. So Tokyo Avengers, you know, it's been a staple in Weekly Shonen magazine for a while. So I mean, I can say it up front. I didn't know about Tokyo Avengers until the anime was set to come out.
Yeah, neither did I. But I mean, we're in for a show.
Yeah,
I absolutely love this series.
Yeah, it's really good so far. I plan to pick up the manga here sometime soon and start reading it as well. You guys should just check it out. It's going to be one of the best series, if not the best, of this spring 2021 season. Another anime that we have set up for the spring 2021 season is 86. This is a series that me and Zach are big fans of so far. We have episode 4 that came out. Josh also watched these, but he wasn't so keen on these. He wasn't a big fan of 86, which is very depressing because me and Zach absolutely have loved the pacing that they've had, the story writing, the character development, you know, the character details that we've had and stuff. What did you guys think of episode 4?
I mean, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm sort of sad we didn't get a nice just storytelling like we did in the previous episode.
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand why, but I just really like the series just in how it's done and the split, how we get half the episode from Major Waifu and then half the episode from the Spearhead group. I mean, that's her name forever, so.
Lena.
Major Waifu. So, yeah, no, I just absolutely love how the story's being told in this split way with them and just showing how the characters are connecting and also going against the society's norm and just sort of picking it apart.
Yeah.
The more or less, I guess technically class separation would be what it would be called. So,
yeah. One thing that I really liked about this episode was whenever Lena was talking to Shin about all the lives that were lost, and she was, you know, getting the names of the team they currently have. Is you know, she asked about the ones previous lost, and he's like, you know, she's like, do you remember them all? He's like, yep, all 531 now is what it is. And then at that moment when she asked that, she immediately like looked over to the memorial where people's names are you know, carved on this memorial, which I feel like is gonna, you know, just a little nod that she's gonna start carving all of the lost, you know, soldiers' names over time. I like that little nod.
I honestly expected her to start doing it because it was nice because it didn't actually show a shot of the graves until Shin mentions that we don't get graves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice that. And I will say again, since I haven't talked about 86, I did watch every episode so far. It's not a bad series. I don't hate it. I guess I don't share the love for it that you guys do. I'm more so like really into Tokyo Avengers.
Right.
So maybe that took it away because I finished Tokyo Avengers and then I watched all of 86 and I was like, okay, maybe they hyped it up a little too much for me. It is very enjoyable, though I do catch myself thinking a lot of the time, what is it with spider mechs? Because it immediately makes me think of Ghost in the Shell, standalone complex, and their spider mechs. So that did arise a few times. But I mean, it's a good show. Otherwise, I enjoy it.
That brings up a question, Josh.
Yeah.
Alex, how the heck do you watch this series?
Okay, that is hold on. All right, don't target this at me.
You're the one who hates spiders. You gave a chapter a 0 because it had a spider in it.
That was a real spider.
A good chapter.
That was a real spider and a very detailed spider. Thank you. I was not prepared for that. That's different. These are mechs. These
are animated mech spiders.
They don't even really like. Besides the legs, they don't even look like spiders. Okay, it didn't bother me that much. Fuck off.
Now going back a little bit, have you ever watched the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex? How do you feel about those spider mechs? Because they're more realistic spiders.
I can't give you an opinion because I haven't really watched Ghost in the Shells since like way back in the day on Adult Swim. I never cared for the show itself.
Because it had spider mechs?
No, like I just didn't like the show itself. I just didn't get into it. Don't turn this on me. Fuck off. How dare you? Anyway, let's go over from there. Fuck you guys. Let's go over to your eternity. So we got a little something. Do you want me to play it?
I mean, go ahead.
Okay. Here it comes. Zach, the floor is yours.
Okay, so Josh, we need to have an intervention here.
This is him. This is not me.
So, from my understanding, you tried to watch To Your Eternity, yes?
Yeah.
What happened? Is it just because it's not like an action series? Like, because Alex showed me, he went to the replay, and I know it goes back. You only got to about like 6 minutes in the show.
5 minutes, 12 seconds.
That is true. I'm glad that, first off, I'm glad that we do share a Crunchyroll account. Because it is nice that you can go back and find my shortcomings, just like I could go back and find your Dragon Quest Episode 3.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Since you weren't here last week, I want to point out to you, Josh, I did tell Zach a confession that I had.
Oh, yeah, no, I got him on Dragon Quest last week, so don't worry, Josh.
Yeah, he did. I did confess that I almost took Dragon Quest out of the queue that me and you share for my account, but I didn't because, cause I was going to admit defeat that I was never going to go watch it, but I did not take it out because we share my account, and you would see that it was taken out, and then it would never go away. So it's still in my queue as the possibility for me to watch it. But anyway, with that said,
I haven't realized it.
With that said, go back to Zach here with his rant on you.
So,
okay.
So how are you going to defend yourself, huh?
How am I going to defend myself? Okay, that day I watched Tokyo Revengers, and then I watched every episode of 86 that was out so far, and by that time I was just like, I don't know. I wasn't feeling how it was going so far, and I was just like, all right, maybe I'll give myself a break and watch like JoJo or something, and then come back to it later. And I didn't get back to it later. That's my bad.
Wasn't feeling it.
So,
he watched 5 minutes.
So there's a possibility you might, because here's my thing. We established that out of the three of us, you probably watched the most just regular content that has a lot of action and whatnot. And we talked before about expanding our horizons of what we're watching. So I'm thinking, like, did he not watch it because it wasn't fast paced enough for him? Like, could he not handle watching a wolf walk through the snow? Like, what happened here? Can his brain not process, like, oh, I need to be patient and watch more to really absorb and enjoy this?
I just watched the lie, and I just wasn't feeling it. I wanted to play something in the background so I could do something else. And so I was just like, all right, JoJo it is. So that's my bad. I will definitely, at some point this weekend, watch more. I mean, I will, I promise.
My thing is, I don't care if you dislike the series and whatnot, but at least watch a full episode.
Yeah, give it a chance.
Well, hey, but I never said I didn't like it. I never said, like, oh, I can't stand this. I just said
it was boring.
I wasn't feeling.
You said it was boring.
I said it was boring and I wasn't feeling it. But that's because I have a very short attention span.
Clearly, like, 5 minutes is about as far as you can get.
Well, technically, it's like almost 3 hours was my attention span that day. So, but I will definitely give it another shot this weekend, and by the next episode,
give it the Mashal try.
The Mashal try. There you go.
The Mashal try took like a year. I want you guys to know because I hated it. I didn't read it. Then I read it. Then I liked it. Then I stopped reading it, and then I caught up on it again. So don't tell me to give it the Mashal try because we'll be on season 3, and I'll be like, I still haven't finished episode 1.
I mean, you wouldn't be alone because I'm still waiting for Alex to give Dragon Quest the Mashal try over here.
I'm trying. Okay, I see it every week. Yeah. I look at it. I'm like, is this going to be the day?
Is this the day I work on Hunter x Hunter?
Yeah. Is this the day?
This is the day I watch Dragon Quest.
The day has not come yet.
Tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'll text you both and I'll be like, today might be the day I watch To Your Eternity.
I hope you do because, I mean, it is a very good story. It is a very good story.
I'm not saying that it's not a good story. I was just, it was the wolf walking in the snow and then the kid had the rope around the wolf and I was like, okay, this is, I don't know what's going on here. And then I was like, all right, I want to jump onto something else.
All right. Well, with all that out of the way, Zach, what did you think of episode 4 of To Your Eternity?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm not entirely sure what direction the story is going, just because.
1 second, I started to like that chick, and then it went downhill very quickly.
Oh, I never liked her for a second. She was two-faced from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I mean, from what I'm getting from To Your Eternity, it is, yes, we have Fushi, our white-haired orb thingy, but the story's not really about him. It's more about the people themselves, the characters he's some reason interacting with just through chance. And I mean, And because of that, I'm not entirely sure where the story's going. Just because we've had the whole thing with Mash in the forest and everything, or March in the forest, and then now, does it ever say her actual name, or she just constantly call her Sissy?
I don't think so. Okay. I could be wrong though. You know how I am with names. Yeah. I'm the worst person to ask about that.
But the older girl who March calls her sister, just her elaborate escape plan which
almost backfired horribly.
Yes. Almost backfired horribly, and to get out of this prison now that they've been imprisoned because what's her name, Two-Faced, is trying to use Fushi to learn, I guess, how to become immortal?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really give us a good idea, just that she was showing him off that he's immortal and having a bunch of prisoners stab him over and over.
Right.
But I mean, overall, it's good. We're getting a lot, because it is very heavily character-based. And as I said, it's the story of the characters themselves, not necessarily Fushi. He's involved in all of it, but it's really honestly following, at this point, March, the older girl, and then Two-Faced.
Yeah. And, this episode kind of wrapped up with them about to do their prison escape. Because, the sister her plan almost backfired horribly, trying to climb along the side of the damn castle, the damn tower, basically, and the rope ripping and just one thing after another. But they are about to make their big escape. So I'm with you. I don't know completely the story direction that we're kind of going with here. Obviously very curious where it's going to go, and just what other characters are we going to get introduced to that's going to continue to, build what we have going on here.
The only thing I can definitely say where the story goes, it's not going to end well.
No.
It's not going to end well.
Oh, no. We knew that after episode 1. After episode 1, we're just like, okay, so this series is going to be up for, it's not going to end well with anything. And it's like those comments that I read on episode 1 when I checked out, where everyone's just like, everyone, welcome to your eternity. This series will either create a lot of pain or a lot of healing. We'll see which one it does for you. So that's basically how this series is going to go for us. Either a lot of pain or, I guess, a lot of healing. I don't know which. What about Shaman King, episode 5? We got to see Yo actually get a power up this episode. Got introduced to a pretty dope character here. Silva was, I believe, his name.
Yeah, Silva's his name, and he's one of the few characters who I don't understand why he has so many spirits.
Right.
I was just like, I get the whole thing. He tied pieces of them to acquire them, but at the same time, it's like, how? Nobody else uses multiple spirits that I can remember. I could be wrong. Now that I say that, I think Yo does acquire a second one at one point for one attack, but I could be wrong. That may be a different series.
One single attack.
Well, for one big move.
Right.
But
it was an okay episode. I mean, it was cool to see Yo get that power up, whatever. And honestly, I thought Silva was really dope. I liked the whole multiple spirit thing that he had going on. I liked how each of them kind of did something different.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, that was all cool. I liked all that. Yo's power was pretty cool. But I don't know. Now we're starting to get set up for the Shaman King selection tournament thing, whatever they titled it. I forgot. But
it's the Shaman fights. It's literally just a big fight of that little thing he got.
Yeah.
Pretty much, two shamans get, hey, go to this place at this time and fight whoever's there.
Yep.
And that's more or less how it goes for a large portion of the series. It's just a fight of going to places, fighting somebody, doing the old shonen trope of, now we fought, be my friend.
That, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, so I mean, it's all about to start really picking up from there. As I've stated before, this is all almost like fresh content for me because I really don't remember Shaman King that well. And my personal take on it is it's okay so far. I'm not over the top about it, but it's okay.
I'm not either, because watching it, even though it is been reanimated, it's pretty much following closely to the original source and what I remember. I mean, I don't think it aged well.
Yeah. Shaman King is going to be one of those series on this lineup that we have where, if I'm running low on time for whatever reason one week, that's probably going to be the first one that I drop, where I don't watch it for the week. That's my take on it. Everything else, I'll do my best to make a priority to watch, but that's one that I could see myself dropping. But I don't know. I mean, it's all right. Hopefully it gets better. We'll see. Now, what about Eden Zero, episode 4? I loved this episode. This episode was a really entertaining episode to me. My favorite thing about this episode is just man, of how well it was animated when Shiki was using his gravity powers, like pulling. Like I loved how the camera was consistently flipping as they were going up and down and alongside buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was animated so well.
I mean, the episode itself was very good. My big thing was I didn't expect Weiss's voice to be so deep. I wasn't expecting a deep voice from Weiss.
That's fair.
I mean, I understand why now that I've heard it, but at the same time, I was just like, oh, not what I was expecting.
Right. No, that's fair. Yeah, man, I loved also like Shiki's just like facial expressions throughout this episode.
Oh,
there
yeah.
were so many moments where I had to pause it and I took like a screenshot. I'm like, that could be a good profile picture later, just because of how over the top he is with all of his animations.
My favorite expression was Happy's after Pino's EMP.
Oh yeah, where like Happy was basically just dead for a moment, and Rebecca's just like, Happy, no.
She's just like, oh, EMP, electronics. Happy!
Yeah, and Happy just sitting there just basically dead because of it. That was hilarious. I love the little moment where Shiki's just like, talking to Pino, is like, hey, can we be friends? And Pino's like, let me look up the definition of a friend. And Pino's just like, well, I don't think the prerequisites has been met, but I will accept. We can be friends. And it's like, she's like, yes, made a friend today. Let's go.
And it shows Weiss, I'm gonna have to put you on hold.
Yeah. It was a great episode though, man. It was really just overall from top to bottom, just really entertaining. The little bit of action that we got was just really just animated so well. And I'm really pumped for episode 5. Really enjoying what they're doing with the Eden Zero anime so far. Next up, Seven Deadly Sins, season 4, episode 17. It was dog shit.
One that you're not very happy about.
Yeah, it was dog shit. That's the bottom line. It was just a bunch of more moments that they just screwed up animation wise. It just looked terrible. Like literally like the first 30 seconds where you had like Bond and Meliodas and Elizabeth talking, like, I had to pause it because I'm just looking at this and looking at like how they're drawn, and it looks like a child drew it. I mean,
Oh yeah, you did post that picture.
Yeah, that was like the first 30 seconds, and at that moment I'm like, okay, this is all gonna go downhill from here.
How many more episodes you got?
Like 7 or 8. Yeah, I know. Yeah, then we had the cool little end shot of all the 7 sins, and Meliodas is like, it's time to do our mission, defeat the Demon King, whatever. And I sent you guys the manga version and the anime version. It's just like, how dare they? I'm so offended that they ruined this.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
It's terrible, man. And I do want the record to be known, like, I'm not, unless it's really, really bad, right? I'm not usually like just a hard stickler for animation. I know it seems like it, but my problem is the fact that we had an incredible animation for this series, and we have what we have now. That's my problem. I understand 2 different studios. I get that. And even the thing is, as much as I've ragdolled them before, like I've looked up some other stuff. Studio D has done some decent work in the past. So it's just like, what are we doing with Seven Deadly Sins? Like that's what I don't get. Like the times where I'm like a real like hard about the animation is like in cases like this where you have like a more notable name series. And in Seven Deadly Sins case, where you had good animation before and it just kind of dropped the ball. Another example of a notable series that had piss poor animation that we have to really harp on is like, let's say, Dragon Ball Super. Mm-hmm. Obviously, very notable series. Dragon Ball Super is known for absolutely just terrible animation for like the first few episodes, was just horribly botched. So I mean, it's just stuff like that that's just really frustrating. Like it feels like kind of like a lower end series, and animation was like kind of like, let's say like what Seven Deadly Sins now is, and it's like that from beginning to end. Like, you're already going in there, you're used to it. The story is compelling, and the story for Seven Deadly Sins is compelling. It's a good story, but it all comes back to the fact of like, look what we once had, and look at what we have now. And also like, Studio Dean has done some other stuff that's not terrible. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's just. Like all these really awesome moments are just being completely ruined. Like Escanor came into this episode, obviously, and his couple little shots that they didn't look great either. It's just dog shit.
You know what it is? Studio Dean saw Attack on Titan final season, went, hold my beer.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
It's whatever. What was you guys' favorite episode of the week?
I'm gonna say Tokyo Revengers.
That's fair.
I'm going to give mine to 86 again.
Mine's a tie. Mine's between 86 and Eden Zero, episode 4. Like I said, episode 4 just top to bottom. I just really enjoyed it. I really just loved the animation bit that we got. I thought it was super dope. All right, let's finish up the show here. We got a couple chapter ratings to hit. So kicking things off with Spy Family Chapter 45. What would you rate it?
I would give it 7.
I'll give it a 7 as well. Next up, hopping over to the webtoons, we've got a High School 514.
I'll give it a 6.
You know, me and you are on two different ends of this spectrum.
Did you go the other way?
I'm going 9.
Really?
I absolutely love this chapter. This was Q's.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, this was Q's.
I was thinking of the previous chapter. Yeah, I still want to give it a 9, but I'll give it a 7.
Okay. Yeah, I'm giving it a 9 for me. What about an ordinary 231?
What would you rate a John beatdown?
That we're about to get.
I can only hope.
Yeah. Well, for this chapter, I'd give it an 8. I liked the closure that we kind of got on a couple things, if we were going to call it that.
Yeah.
But the next chapter, I'm hoping for something. Like, I'm hoping he's going to use his powers for good for the first time, like all series.
Yeah, I'll do an 8.
What about soul leveling 150? I completely forgot to read. I'm disappointed I didn't read it then. But
yeah, you're missing.
yeah, well, I'll read it later. What about Week Hero 136?
9.
I give that a 9. That was really good. And Elseed 110.
9.
What was your favorite chapter of the week? You have a couple 9s there, a few 9s there.
Gerard.
That's fair. I'm gonna give it to God of High School. That line of watch carefully, that's your father hard at work, really got me. That line really got me in this chapter. So I'm gonna give it to God of High School. Overall, great chapter. All right, guys. Well, that wraps up the show. The last little bit I have here is the weekly poll results for last week's poll, which was we've recently gotten into reading and watching some Shonen magazine series here on AniMan Plus with Eden Zero, Tokyo Revengers, To Your Eternity, Fire Force, and Ranger Reject as examples, with more on our radar. Which do you prefer as a whole, Shonen Jump or Shonen Magazine? I was actually surprised to see the results as they were. Shonen Magazine won with 70% of the votes, and Shonen Jump with 30%. I was actually really surprised to see that large of a gap there. But, I mean, the stuff that Shonen Magazine has, man, it is really solid. I wish there was an easier way to read stuff. We have those few series that are pretty easy access, whether if it's through like Crunchyroll manga or Comixology or whatever. But then there's like a lot of them that you got to find a way to bootleg one way or the other, like Tokyo Revengers, Ranger Reject, Fire Force. So, yeah, I was surprised to see that. But you can also, like I mentioned earlier, you can go vote on our current poll, which is involving like anime movies and the new standard form at AniMan Podcast. You can vote over there. And as reminded, also, you can, if you want to support us further, the Patreon is a great way to do so. We'd greatly appreciate it, but do not feel pressured. We just appreciate you listening to the show. Be a friend, tell a friend. Zach, Josh, you guys got anything to say to wrap up the show here?
I'm going to say for everyone that's listening or watching, please subscribe, like, comment, anything your platform allows, or rate. If you are enjoying this for some reason on YouTube, subscribe and hit the bell if you want to actually be notified when we post things. Otherwise, ignore it and we'll continue posting. So maybe you'll show up every once in like 5 months.
Yeah, maybe you'll show up every once in a while. Our life goes on. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. It's no big deal.
Josh, we do appreciate your support.
Yeah, that's true. Josh, you got anything?
Just follow us on Twitter at AniMan Podcast. Or that's the Twitter handle, right?
Yeah, you got it right. Look at you. You got it.
I made it. I can't remember it. Give us a follow over there. Also, I wanted to correct myself because I did some research in the part where I didn't have anything to do. To correct myself on the One Piece thing, Panda Man was 97th. He didn't rank as high as I thought he did. But Whoop Slap was number 37, so that's the thing.
Wait, who is 37?
Whoop Slap,
the
mayor.
Right, gotcha.
That only appears like 3 times in the entire series, ranked higher than, Kaido, Big Mom, Prospero, those bigger characters that you would think are more popular.
Right. Okay, cool. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here then. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode if you made it all the way to the end. Like they've said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, anything along those lines. We greatly appreciate it, especially now that we're doing all the YouTube stuff, posting every single week over there. We are currently setting up for our next extra cast. We don't know if it's going to be bonus or spoiler. We're messing with a couple ideas, but we try to do at least once a month is the new goal, so look out for that as well. Well, anyway, until next time, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.
Yeah. Thanks for making it to the end. We'll get the lottery numbers later.
Shut up, Josh.